Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niran here and today it is time for episode number 3 of the FIFA 15 show, and today, oh my goodness gracious me, there is absolutely shed loads of stuff to go through. It's actually ridiculous, so I'm just going to get on with it. I apologise if this episode is a little bit too long, but of course this is the series where I go through all sorts of news, updates and information released by EA based on FIFA 15. So all the news that is released by EA Sports will come to you in the shape of this video and this series until the game is released. So we're first of all going to get into the first thing, and that is improved goalkeepers. Now, EA released a trailer at Gamescom, which is still going on at the moment, but was mainly going on earlier on this week. They released a trailer based on the goalkeepers. I'll leave a link to that in the description so you guys can go and check that out. But basically, they have improved goalkeepers hugely. The trailer featured Tim Howard and various other goalkeepers who have sort of partnerships with EA, making all sorts of saves and all sorts of very realistic saves too. So mainly what this is that the goalkeepers can now change their mind. They're a lot more intelligent than they were on all previous FIFAs, being FIFA 14 as well, because they were a little bit stupid from time to time. So basically they can change their mind now and they can alter a decision as it happens. So usually if you got the rare occurrence of a deflected goal, the goalkeeper would continue to dive in the direction the ball was heading before, and he wouldn't throw out a hand or anything. Now they can actually chuck out a hand in the opposite direction if the ball takes any sort of deflection, or if it goes in a different direction to what they originally thought it would. Although the animation is apparently unfinished, so it's going to be apparently at this point in time, although it's an early build at the moment, it is quite similar to the Impact engine when that first came about, and we all remember how the Impact engine was fuss rodars all over the place, people flying across the pitch left, right and centre. So we're not entirely sure how clever they are or how intelligent they are actually going to be, but hopefully EA have managed to do, you know, something with that, because that's quite a nice thing. You get all sorts of variations of saves as well. You know, Tim Howard diving in the other direction, chucks out a hand, makes a brilliant save, all sorts of things. Hopefully it doesn't work in the other direction though and makes them overpowered, because to be honest, goalkeepers can be quite overpowered, especially when you're playing the AI. Career mode is very, very frustrating in that sense, is that the AI goalkeepers are ridiculous to play against. So hopefully that can be toned down a little bit. They'll make more interesting saves, but they're not quite as overpowered as we fear. Moving on now to the team management overhaul. Probably quite a lot of you have seen that. They've got a new layout. Finally, I think since I started playing FIFA consistently, which was back on FIFA 07, I would say. I don't think the team management has really changed whatsoever. I'll put some screenshots on the screen of what EA have released, and I'll be putting all sorts of screenshots on the screen as well for all the topics that I talk about. But yeah, we've got a really nice crisp layout. Actually, it looks really nice with the sort of dark stadium in the background. It's the tile layout again, but it just looks a lot nicer than it did last year. The plain white, well, it was like that on current gen. I don't know what it was like on next gen, unfortunately. But the main thing that they have brought in is the team sheets idea. Now, finally, this is in effect the unlimited amount of squads you can have on Ultimate Team idea, but it's been transferred into career mode. Now, it's not quite unlimited, you're only allowed 6. But basically what you can do is you can create different team sheets for various scenarios and situations based on your career mode. So let's say, for instance, you're the Arsenal manager and you need a Premier League team, a Champions League team and a Capital One Cup team. Your Capital One Cup team may include your reserves players, your younger players, so you set up a squad for that. And then your Premier League team will be your strongest team. Your Champions League team will be a stronger team, but may take into account fatigue based on the players that have the worst stamina in your squad. You may even have one for away games or home games, and you can really easily, with just a few clicks, just change between them. Instead of having to change out players for every single game and having to change them out individually, you can just literally flick between a squad and it's there sorted for you to start playing. So it's basically like it is on Ultimate Team. I think people have been asking for this for a really long time. It's quite a good idea, really, from EA to bring this in. It'll make career mode a lot easier in terms of changing the squads, a lot easier, because sometimes you just can't be bothered to put in all the reserves for a cup game, and often they end up just not playing. So it sort of forces that upon you, and you can actually, you can make time to create the squad, so you don't have to keep creating them for every single individual game. So that's brilliant. So you're allowed that. I'll put all the screenshots on as well at the moment. You're allowed more in-depth tactical knowledge as well about your players making runs. and stuff like that, and getting in behind. So it's a lot more. It's a lot more intelligent in terms of where the tactics come into play. Reminds me a little bit of Football Manager, and actually a little bit of Pro Evolution Soccer, or PES, back in the day when people used to play PES quite a lot. With those sorts of hexagons or pentagons or whatever shapes to base the attributes of the player. So that's really interesting. It's really crisp layout, looks really nice, and it's pretty good as well. So now moving on. Now, if you're wondering when I'm going to talk about career mode, next episode I'm actually going to do a career mode special, if you like, along with any little bits of small news that are announced. There was just so much news that and I'm a career mode person myself. I just thought I'd make a special FIFA 15 show episode next time out for career mode. So I won't really be mentioning career mode right now. Hopefully there'll be a bit more news about it next week as well. But now moving on to the new legends, and I'll put some of them on the screen now, and I'll be listing them off. Got people like Roberto Carlos, JJ Okocha, Peter Schmeichel, both the Laudrups, and we've also got what's the goalkeeper's name? The Colombian guy who did the scorpion kick. Valderrama, that guy. So yeah, you'll see them all on the screen. There's more than the ones I just mentioned. But yeah, so these 15 new legends will be added to the ones that we already have. It's only Xbox One Xbox exclusive as opposed to Xbox One exclusive, but it is only on Xbox, so PlayStation users, you might as well not listen now, unfortunately, because this isn't going to apply to you. I went through that last episode as to why Legends won't be on FIFA 15 as well, so if you want to go check that out, check out the last episode of the FIFA 15 show. And yeah, hopefully that will make a lot more sense to you guys. But yeah, so that now makes 50 Legends in total on FIFA 15. Of course, we're not going to be having Romario due to those licensing issues, but yeah, a nice little addition there being those new Legends, especially Roberto Carlos. I think people have been calling for him for quite some time. Still no Zinedine Zidane, but I assume it's probably quite hard to get licensing for Zinedine Zidane and Diego Maradona and the such like. But now we're going to move on to something that maybe people don't play as much, and then I'll go on to the Ultimate Team stuff. This is Pro Clubs. I'll just go through this quickly for any Pro Clubs fans out there. They've improved a few things actually to make it just a lot easier, a bit like the team management and career mode really. We've got like a shooter-like matchmaking system now, where you don't just go back to the changing room or the little lobby section where you choose your formation and your position as a pro. You just go straight into another match. It's automatic. Obviously, if you want, you can go back to the dressing room and change any formations that you require or any positions that you want to, but if you really want, you can just go straight into another game with the same matchmaking options that you had set for the game previously. There's a lot more customization now on pros, and this includes a signature celebration and your free kick style, which is again something I've wanted for quite a long time. Makes it a little bit more realistic, especially the trademark celebration, of course. That combined with the new group celebration system as well, that should be relatively interesting too. And you can now reserve a position whilst the rest of your club is playing. If you ever missed out on your club playing, if they were all playing and you were unfortunately just waiting in the dressing room and you weren't allowed to choose your position, you can now reserve a position. You probably want to ask, I'm sure the players' positions will already be taken of the ones that are playing, but you can now reserve a position for when you get into the matchmaking system, and you're whisked off into a nice game as soon as that automatic matchmaking system comes into play. But now it is time to talk about a bit of Ultimate Team, and then finally I will talk about the Matchday Live system that EA have announced as well. So this is possibly one of the biggest things. I'm sorry, this video is going to go above 10 minutes. I really apologise, but there's just no other way, because there's just been so much released with it being Gamescom as well, the new trailers and all the announcements and the such like. It's just hard to get through in under 10 minutes, so bear with me guys. I'll be moving on to the Ultimate Team stuff now. So now, as I will start to put some more screenshots on the screen, you are now allowed concept squads. So if anyone uses FUT or FUTWiz or any website like that, it's pretty similar to that. You can now pretty much set up your own dream team without actually having the players. So you can now scout, and you can, well, not scout necessarily, but you can search the players. If you don't have them, it doesn't really matter. You can set up that team and then you can go and buy them. It only takes one click as well to get onto the transfer market from the concept squad. So obviously, if let's say you had David Silva in the squad that you wanted to get as the concept squad, but you didn't have him, just one simple click and you'd find all the David Silvas on the transfer market, and you'd be able to buy them if you had the funds, of course. So yeah, that's a really interesting idea. It's not going to take over from stuff like FUThead and FUTWiz, because that's a lot more professional, goes through chemistry and all sorts. This is basically, if you have an idea in your head of a team already set in stone, then you can just basically save this as a squad and just remember, it just sort of jogs your memory to build that squad at some later stage. So you can search for those players within one click from the concept squads. You can now copy squads straight from an online game into your concept squads area. So if you play a squad, let's say it had Ibrahimovic in with the OP heading, and you really liked it, and you thought the guy who was playing with it, you know, built an absolutely stunning team, you can literally just copy it straight. I don't know how that's going to work, but you can literally just copy it straight into your concept squads and maybe build it at a later date, sort of copying it really. But hey, if it works well, then go for it anyway. Another thing, you can now set up friendly seasons with your mates, so yeah, it keeps track of the points, keeps track of the games, the wins and the losses and the draws, just basic league sort of system. Just if you know, if you're a little bit bored, just wanted to hang around with a mate and just, you know, play a bit of FIFA, it keeps track of all of that sorts of things, and it's friendlies. I don't know if it goes to the record, I would assume it would, but yeah, just a nice little thing added. And then probably the biggest thing that people have been talking about, you can now loan players from the EAS FC catalogue. Now, I don't know if this is a good thing or not. I'm not entirely sure, in all honesty. You can now loan players such as Messi for a small fee on the EAS FC. It'll be coins as opposed to, well, not Ultimate Team coins, but those EAS FC coins that you get as opposed to real life money. You can loan a player, depending on the player, I'm assuming that would depend on the cost that you have to pay with those little EAS FC coins. You can loan them for a certain amount of time, be it 5 games or 10 games, without actually having to buy them on Ultimate Team. So you can just test out the players. I like it in that sense, but it's just a sort of cheating way of getting the best team, really. I know you only have it for 5 to 10 games or whatnot. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't think many people will use it. Certainly the YouTubers who play Ultimate Team a lot won't, because they've got the coins anyway. They don't really need to loan players. I think it's more for the casual users who don't necessarily have the coins to go out and buy Lionel Messi. For those guys, just if you wanted to test him out for 5 games, just see how he plays. If you don't get a chance to play with him on Ultimate Team for the rest of the year, at least you get that little chance. And so yeah, that's all the Ultimate Team stuff out of the way. And just quickly, as we hit the 12-minute mark, my goodness me, we're about to anyway. We've got Match Day Live. Now basically, you can literally follow your favourite teams and you'll get all sorts of news, tables, fixtures, results, and stuff from that team, and it'll just come up in a nice tile format. You can just scroll through it. It'll be set up by EA, and you'll be able to read through all of that stuff. It includes European teams as well, so if your favourite team is Borussia Dortmund, for example, you can find out all the news, fixtures and stuff from the Bundesliga concerning Borussia Dortmund as well. But that rounds up an absolutely ridiculously long episode of the FIFA 15 show. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you did. Comment about enjoying it if you enjoyed it that much. I hope I brought you up to date with all sorts of news concerning FIFA 15. Stick around for next Friday, of course, episode 4, and I'll be going through all the career mode updates that I basically have not been able to fit into this episode, and I'll be going through them in more depth with all my opinions and views and such like. Nevertheless, it's been an absolute pleasure ranting with you guys today. Have a brilliant day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye. No matter what you say, what you do, I'm alone.